Fermented hot sauces, culturing chili peppers for unique flavor profiles. This guide is designed to take you from a curious heat seeker to a master of the funk. We are going to dive deep into the science, the soul, and the step-by-step mechanics of creating fermented hot sauce. By the time you finish reading, you won't just have a recipe, you'll have the intuition to create your own signature sauces for years to come. The alchemy of the ferment. Why we wait. Most people are used to fresh hot sauces. These are made by boiling peppers with vinegar and salt, then blending them. They are bright, sharp, and punchy. But there is another world of hot sauce, one that takes time. This is the world of fermentation. When you ferment a pepper, you aren't just preserving it, you are transforming it. The process is called lacto-fermentation. It's the same ancient magic that gives us the tang of sourdough bread, the crunch of a deli pickle, complex, and the key in the complex fire of kimchi. In a standard vinegar sauce, the acidity comes from the outside. In a fermented sauce, the acidity is born from within. When you submerge peppers in a saltwater brine, you create a microscopic battlefield. Harmful bacteria, the kind that cause rot, cannot survive in salt. But a specific group of beneficial bacteria, primarily from the Lactobacillus genus, feel right at home. These tiny allies begin to consume the natural sugars found in the pepper's flesh. As they eat, they produce lactic acid as a byproduct. This acid gradually lowers the pH of the liquid, creating a safe, shelf-stable environment. But the real prize is the flavor. Lactic acid is much softer on the palate than the acetic acid found in vinegar. It rounds out the sharp edges of the chili's heat, replacing raw aggression with a savory umami depth that lingers on the tongue. This is what enthusiasts call the funk. Phase 1, designing your flavor blueprint. Before you touch a knife, you need to decide what kind of heat experience you want. A fermented sauce is like a symphony. You need a melody, the heat, a harmony, the aromat, the salt. Selecting your peppers, the heat profile. The choice of pepper is your most important decision. The super hots. If you are a true chili head, you might reach for Carolina Reapers, ghost peppers, or scorpions. Be warned. These are extremely low in sugar and high in oil. They ferment slowly and can be punishingly hot. The Caribbean classics, habaneros and Scotch bonnets, are favorites for fermentation. They have a natural fruitiness, think apricot and citrus, that pairs beautifully with the sour notes of a ferment. The workhorses. Fresnos and jalapenos are perfect for beginners. Fresnos in particular turn a beautiful vibrant red and have enough natural sugar to get a fermentation bubbling vigorously within 24 hours. The bulkers. If you want a sauce you can actually pour generously without losing your taste buds. Mix your hot peppers with sweet bell peppers or Italian frying peppers. This provides body and more sugar for the bacteria to feast on. The supporting cast, aromatics and sugars. This is where your sauce becomes unique. You aren't limited to just peppers. Alliums. Garlic is non-negotiable for many. During fermentation, garlic loses its sharp bite and becomes buttery and mellow. Onions and shallots add a savory sweetness. Fruits, adding fruit like mango, pineapple, or even blueberries can create a stunning sweet and sour profile. Because fruits are high in sugar, they will make your fermentation much more active. Spices. Whole spices work best. Think black peppercorns, coriander seeds, or cumin. Avoid using ground spices during the ferment, as they can make the brine muddy. Save the powders for the final blending phase. The salt, your invisible guard. You cannot use just any salt. Table salt often contains iodine or anti-caking agents that can turn your brine cloudy or worse, kill the beneficial bacteria. Reach for sea salt, kosher salt, or Himalayan pink salt. Similarly, use filtered water. Chlorine in tap water is designed to kill bacteria, which is exactly what we are trying to grow. If you only have tap water, boil it first and let it cool completely to allow the chlorine to dissipate. Phase 2, the gear and the geometry. You don't need an industrial kitchen, but you do need a closer. Schleusd, see den data rat and sod. Oxygen is the enemy of fermentation. If your peppers are exposed to air, mold will grow. The vessel. A glass mason jar is perfect. Glass is non-reactive and easy to clean. The weight. You need a way to keep the peppers submerged. You can buy glass fermentation weights, or you can use a small heavy cabbage leaf tucked over the top. My favorite hack is a small zip-top bag filled with a bit of brine in case it leaks, and nestled on the top of the peppers to weigh them down. The seal. As the bacteria eat, they produce carbon dioxide. This gas needs to escape or your jar will explode. You can use an airlock, the kind used in beer brewing, or simply burp the jar by loosening the lid once a day to let the gas hiss out. Phase 3, the step-by-step build. 1, preparation and sanitation. Wash everything. You don't need to sterilize things like a surgeon, but your jars and hands should be very clean. Stem the peppers. You can leave the seeds in for maximum heat or remove them for a smoother finish. Slice them into rings or chunks. The more surface area exposed, the faster the ferment will start. 2, packing the jar. Toss your peppers, smashed garlic, and sliced onions together, right? Pack them into the jar tightly. You want to leave about 2 inches of space at the top of the jar. This head space is crucial because the mixture will often expand and bubble up as the fermentation gets active. 3, calculating the brine. This is the only math you'll need. A 3% brine is the gold standard for peppers. It's salty enough to keep mold away, but gentle enough for the lactobacillus. The simple method, dissolve 1 tablespoon of salt into 2 cups of water. The pro method, weigh your water in grams and multiply by 0.03 to get the exact salt weight needed. Pour the brine over the peppers until they are completely submerged. Place your weight on top, ensuring no seeds afloat to the surface. Seal the jar. Phase 4, the transformation, watching the bubbles. Now you wait. Move your jar to a dark corner of your kitchen where the temperature is steady, ideally between 65 degrees Fahrenheit and 75 degrees Fahrenheit, days 1 to 4, the active phase. You will see bubbles rising to the top. The brine will likely turn cloudy. This is a sign of a healthy colony. If you aren't using an airlock, remember to burp the lid daily. Days 5 to 14, the flavor phase. The bubbling will slow down. The bright red or green of the peppers will begin to dull slightly. This is normal. The scent will change from raw vegetable to tangy pickle. The long game. Some makers let their sauce ferment for 3 months or even a year. For your first batch, 14 to 21 days is perfect. It's long enough to develop complexity, but short enough that you don't lose interest. Phase 5, the grand finale, blending and balancing. Once the wait is over, it's time to turn that jar of pickles into a gourmet sauce. The separation, place a colander over a large bowl and pour the contents of your jar into it. Do not throw away the liquid. This brine is packed with flavor and active cultures. The blend. Put your fermented solids, the peppers, garlic, etc., into a high-powered blender. Add about half a cup of the reserved brine to start. Blend on high until the sauce is completely smooth. The customization. Now taste it. It will be salty and tangy, but it might need tuning. To add brightness, add a splash of apple cider vinegar to add sweetness. A teaspoon of honey or brown sugar can balance the fermentation sourness. To add richness, a tiny splash of olive oil or a pinch of xanthan gum, about 1/8 of a teaspoon, can give the sauce a professional velvety texture that doesn't separate in the bottle. Phase 6, safety, storage, and stability. You now have a live sauce. Because it is full of living bacteria, it will continue to produce gas. Option A, the raw sauce, refrigerated. If you love the health benefits of probiotics, keep the sauce raw. Pour it into glass woozy bottles and put it straight into the fridge. The cold temperature will effectively sleep the bacteria. It will stay good for 6-12 months. Warning, if you leave a raw fermented sauce in a sealed bottle on a warm counter, it can build up pressure and explode. Option B, the shelf-stable sauce pasteurized. If you want to give your sauce as a gift or keep it in the pantry, you must pasteurize it. Pour the blended sauce into a pot and bring it to a simmer, about 180-degree nice, for 10 minutes. And this kills the bacteria and stops all fermentation. While you lose the probiotic benefits, the flavor remains locked in, and the sauce is safe to store at room temperature. Troubleshooting the funk. My brine is cloudy. This is perfectly normal. It's just a byproduct of the bacteria doing their job. There's a white film on top, and shake. This is likely calm yeast. It happens when the pH isn't dropping fast enough or there's a bit too much oxygen. It isn't harmful, but it can make the sauce taste yeasty or soapy if left too long. Scrape it off and proceed. It smells like rotten eggs. If the smell is truly foul, not tangy but putrid, something went wrong. This usually happens if the salt concentration was too low or the temperature was too high. When in doubt, throw it out. A healthy ferment should smell like a spicy pickle or a jar of sauerkraut. Beyond the bottle, how to use your creation. A fermented hot sauce isn't just a condiment. It's an ingredient. The marinade, use the leftover brine to marinate chicken or pork. The acidity tenderizes the meat while the salt seasons it deeply. The dressing. Whisk your sauce with some tahini and lemon juice for a spicy salad dressing. The gift. There is nothing quite like handing a friend a bottle of sauce with a custom label that says fermented for 30 days. It's a labor of love that shows in every drop. Fermentation is a journey of patience. You are collaborating with nature to create something that cannot be bought in a standard grocery store. Each batch will be slightly different, influenced by the season, the soil the peppers grew in, and the environment of your kitchen.